Initializing can take 2 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see, I'm joined this morning first thing by the bearded picker. As you know, Scott Todd's away on vacation, so the beard came in and hung out with me this morning. How are you doing this morning, Scott?
It's too early to tell.
Good
I'm
morning,
sorry.
baseball.
I'm in mourning that I'm losing part of my collection of cameras. So if I'm sad today, it's because of that.
Good morning, Texas. What is with that hair? That picture? Are you like a? Are you role playing a British, a 14th century British monarch? Good morning, Lag.
Mm. No,
Good morning, Carol. Dang, everybody's in here this morning
I
early.
think that's
Carol's,
one of Phil's transition pictures. I think.
oh, is that it? Uh, Dang, Carol's up early this morning. She must have, her boyfriend must have had to go to work this morning. She usually sleeps to what, 11?
I don't know, either that or she got drunk at the bar last night and she's doing the walk of shame home. One or the other.
That's right. Well, they don't have bars where she lives at. They have pubs.
I don't know. I've been there. That's a shithole.
Um, so you're selling off your cameras collection.
But they really weren't a collection. I just never saw. Yeah, but of the ones back here, I sold 5 yesterday.
Well, good, good. Good morning, Bumcrack. Hope you're doing well today. Lag, lag, lag. Um, had you not got them listed, and so
They
they
were
were
never,
sitting back there, or you just finally got around to listing them?
they were in a drawer over there. There were actually some were in the drawer, so and there was a couple buckets, and I started picking them up. Yeah,
Carol says, "Keep listing that crap, Scott."
I know.
When do you leave to go to Illinois for the?
Uh, Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Uh, it's September 30th, so I guess we're leaving here on the morning of the 29th.
who's going up there with you?
My worst half.
Oh, you must be flying then.
No,
Oh,
it's
that's an ex-
it's only 5 hours from here.
so that's an acceptable ride for her.
Might
Or
as
are
well
you
be.
are you talking about Harlan?
Might as well be. She said she was going, so and I bought her a ticket. So
Well, that's good.
now Harlan's, I'm pretty sure he's going to, but I don't know if he's going up Friday or Saturday.
But this is just for one day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 6 hour thing Saturday
Right.
night. We're going up Friday just because it'll give Johnny a chance to rest. We'll get there, eat dinner or something, and she'll rest Friday evening. And while I'm going yard sale on Saturday morning, so I know that's not a big shock, but damn it. Uh,
Try to find some product while you're up there. Are you driving her car? Or are you taking one of the vans or your truck?
the van. I mean, her car gets way better gas mileage, but that little bitty thing, it limits what I can buy.
What does she have?
A little accurate TSX.
Is that like a Corolla or above that?
It's bigger than a Corolla.
Like
It's the size that Accord used to be.
okay,
It's a touch smaller than an Accord.
okay. Yeah, it won't take you long to fill that up.
Now the trunk. I mean, the trunk won't even hardly hold a suitcase. I mean, the suitcases have to go in the back seat, and that really limits. So I'm like, you know what, van it is.
My mom and dad used to have a Lincoln Town car. I swear you could put 5 or 6 bodies in the back of that thing, in the trunk of that thing. I guess
So
that's why all the gangsters always drove them in TV programs.
we had a Lincoln when we moved down here. So when we were uh, when Johnny filed for disability, we were like anybody else. We had two car payments, two salaries, and so we went 2 years without her salary. So we sold both the cars. I bought that's when I bought that 300ZX. I paid cash for it
Right.
and to get rid of the payment. And we were going to buy another car, and my grandparents were like, "We haven't driven the Lincoln in over a year, and neither one of us is going to drive again. Just why don't you just buy the Lincoln from me?" And I'm like, I'm reinvesting all my. I told my grandparents I was reinvesting my money back into trying to build this business. I had just bought this car, and they're like, "Just give us money whenever." They passed away before I ever paid that back. So Johnny drove the free Lincoln. Um, they had given they were very good about when I moved to North Carolina. They're like, "We don't drive this Jeep anymore. Don't you want it?" I'm like, "All right, I'll take it." It was a '98 Jeep Grand Cherokee. My grandfather was big into Grand Cherokee. He loved Jeeps,
Right.
and so yeah, I kept that one for I don't know. I drove that one for 3 or 4 years. Um, if you know anything about those old Jeeps, it's those old Grand Cherokees. It's hard to keep them on the road because when the Chrysler first took over, man, they destroyed Jeep.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so Joni drove that one, and it was a comfortable car. It was a Lincoln Continental. It was a 2000 Continental. It only had like 50,000 miles on it. Um, but the problem is those bench seats you can't make comfortable enough. They're not benches, but they look like benches
Right.
because even though they're separate. But and that model of and so I don't know if they invented gangster lean or if the Lincolns were just made to set up, but it felt like Joni's back. It felt like the way the seat sat, it was always putting pressure on her back, and so even for long trips, you would think, man, that Lincoln should be so comfortable because it rode like you're on clouds,
Right.
but because it was on airbags, but it you just couldn't make the seat comfortable enough for her. So I sourced with it for if Johnny, because Johnny was able, I'm like, "Are you going anywhere today?" She's like, "No." I'm like, because I mean, I had a 200, I had a 240 SX convertible as well. So I'm like, that Jacob drove to school. So I'm driving to Lincoln to go sourcing because you can only put so much in a 300ZX before it's full. But the trunk on that Lincoln, oh my god, I had filled that car up quite a few times where it'd be all up in the front seat and that damn thing you got. I'm like, maybe it'll take one more store. You just keep putting stuff. That trunk was amazing how big it was. You could stack bodies in that trunk. It was so big.
Um, you before Bridget and Chris got their big transit van, which is something that you need to get.
We actually almost bought one right in 19 of the pandemic.
Right.
We were test driving one and we were making plans to buy one, and then we just decided the Toyota. There was still a lot of life in the Toyota. We decided, and I looked at it. I'm like, man, the Toyota's only got like 4 months of payments left. That was a big factor. I mean, we probably should have bought it. We could have made money because I think that van was only like 32,000 brand new or 33,000.
Right.
And go try to find a Ford Transit for even a 19. Try to go find one for 32,000.
Yeah. Um, but I think the big final decision on Bridget and Chris getting theirs is that they would go to these auctions and they would fill up the car, and I think Chris got tired of hanging on to the luggage carrier on top of the car because they would fill that sucker up, and I think they've been real happy with theirs. Now theirs is a regular work transit, not the one with the fancy interior in it. Todd's
He
on
is
vacation.
he's
Well,
cruising. They're going to the Alaska cruise. What, 2 weeks?
yeah, yeah, they're gonna be gone for about 14 days. Good morning,
One,
Joanna.
1 week is 7 days, so 2 weeks will be 14.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
yeah, yeah. Roberta and I were talking about last night about we might investigate into doing one of the cruises out of Baltimore that goes up to like Iceland and Greenland.
Mm-hmm. So have you seen? So I follow some of the sailing folks, and there's some interesting cruises that go up. They've taken the Antarctic cruises or whatever they are
Yeah.
out of this. They're expensive, but they're out of like Norway or somewhere. They've got these luxury ships that go almost to the North Pole and back.
There's one that goes to Antarctica that was in a little skirmish with a Venezuelan gunboat a
Yeah,
couple months ago. Did you hear about that?
but if you get all the way up to the North Pole, I need you to start taking some pictures and see if you can see the far ice wall because you're you're at ground zero of flat Earth up there.
Yeah. Um, Apparently, the Venezuelan government thought that the cruise ship was, and this cruise ship was going to Antarctica. That's the purpose of it. They thought they were in Venezuelan, uh, not airspace, sea
Uh,
space,
right.
and they ended up trying to commandeer the ship. And when the cruise ship captain just said, "Screw you guys, we're in open waters," the Venezuelan ship ran into it, trying to stop it, and the Venezuelan gunship ended up sinking because that cruise ship is built to
Yeah.
break ice.
Yeah. So Texas Bow said that they bought their transit in Illinois, flew up there, uh, and then drove it back. Folks, if with cars being so expensive, that's a great idea. So the Toyota. So if y'all don't know about the Toyota came from Florida. It was a rental van, so it was a Enterprise at 14,000 miles on it. Remember back before the pandemic, all these rental cars at 15,000 miles, they sold their fleets, because their business model was, they get them cheap from these companies, and then they sell them while they still got warranty on them, and they only use so much of the value, and so they keep. So I got the Toyota at a great price. It was in Florida at a company called Off Lease Only. They're one of the larger used car dealers in the company in the
Right,
country. They have 5 locations in Florida.
right,
Um, they picked me to, so they've been folks. They've been over backwards. They picked me up at the airport, and I went directly there. They had all the paperwork ready. I ended up having to wait 4 hours because I was pre-approved and all that was done. But the state's license plate system was down, and so I had to sit around and wait on the state system to come back up so that they could print the temporary plate to put on it.
right.
But while I was waiting, they're like, "You might as well go get something to eat or whatever." So I left the parking lot whenever I finished all the paperwork. First stop in that van, true story, Walgreens. I went to source them at the very first stop.
There was there was a couple at FlipCon, and they had their kids with them, and they have the passenger van version of the Transit,
Right,
and they've got one of the the dog barriers. Like they have the two front seats, and then they have the two captain seats
right,
for passengers, and then right behind it they have one of those big dog barriers. And they went to Lowe's and got some carpet and big enough to go back there, and they flipped it upside downward so the carpet was actually against the interior of the van,
right.
and that's what they use to thrift with, but they also need to haul the family with. So I thought that was a pretty good idea. And he said it was actually not very much more than just the regular work trucks.
Yeah,
Text,
the trucks are just. I mean, if you price trucks or price and try to find a Toyota van right now, it's a short supply for a vehicle that size that with a hybrid getting the gas mileage it gets. Man, most Toyota dealers don't have them on the lots. Most of them are on 6 to 8 months wait just for a new van.
yeah. Texas Val, where you been, girl? I know y'all been busy with the 108-degree temperatures down in Texas. You probably been answering the phone all that night long.
It's
Her
terrible.
husband,
It's going to be 84 today.
her husband has a HVAC business,
Oh,
or
yeah.
they had one, so I'm sure they were staying busy down there. Old people like Todd. Oh, my air conditioner's broke. You need to get out here and fix it.
Yeah, like 75 is probably to get the. I think XL. If you just get a base XLT, it's 60 low 60s.
Yeah.
and then
Um,
you start adding stuff to it, it gets to it gets up there pretty quick. But from looks like the 15th is the drop dead date for a strike, and it looks like they're going to strike. And so, where all these dealerships have got tons of inventory right now, and you would think the prices would come down, they are actually holding prices, anticipating a strike, so the dealerships can make money.
well, you know, we have that new Mazda out there, which we really like the Mazda, um, and a new one because you it was gonna cost us as much to buy a used one as that new a new car. I mean, a used car of any kind as that Mazda, because that's when they were just burning people up.
Like the dealer, remember during all this craziness, you couldn't get a truck. Um, our local dealership has 142 available brand new F-150s. The Broncos that you couldn't get, they have 13 of the sports and 7 of the regulars. I mean, um, they've got 3 transits. They've got 1 250. So the transits are still a little.
My brother had to replace. My oldest brother had two payments left on his pickup truck, and it was dressed to the max. And a guy ran into him and totaled it. And they went looking for new trucks. They couldn't even buy any. They couldn't buy an XL or what is it, a Sport,
Yeah,
which is the
this dealership now has them. So our dealership an F-150 Lariat, which is one of their top of the line packages, is 64 here.
yeah.
They
Well,
have
that's not bad.
An XL 2023 XL is 44.3 here. Let's see what's on it. Uh, and that's what my truck's an XL. It looks like I mean, it looks like it's got enough stuff on. I mean, it's got Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It's got
Right.
Bluetooth fog lights, backup cameras, keyless. It's got the forward collision and the lane departure on that's the XL. It's got the Wi-Fi hotspot in it. How much? What other stuff? I mean, it's a truck. If you're going
Right.
to use it as a truck, who you don't need.
Yeah. My dad had a Lariat, and he had a you push a button on the dash and the tailgate would go down. I mean,
Yeah, that's what. But this, hey, I don't need. Hell,
yeah. Well, what my point is, I said, what's the point of that if you don't have a because it didn't have a button on the key fob to drop the tailgate, which would be pretty handy if you're,
I
you know,
think they
you're at
do that.
Lowe's and you got stuff and you in your arms and you,
They do that now. Don't the keyless? Don't they do it? Drop it now.
I think they do now, but that's been a few years back.
So
But
let's see. The Lariat adds all-wheel drive, blind spot monitoring, heated seats, leather seats, memory seats, navigation, power. Uh, it mentions side impact airbags. I can't imagine that the other one. Then wireless phone charging and a tow package.
I like that Mazda has heated seats on it. I like the heated seats. Makes
So my,
my back feel so much better. Roberta freaks out though because I've got my heated seats turned up high and I got the air conditioner down to 62.
Johnny does the same thing because of her back. You know, she always has to heat the seats on. Every time I
Yeah.
get in her car, I go, "Why's my ass so hot?" Till I remember she's got the seats on. But the best, my mother's truck. Mother has a 2011, whatever the Ram is loaded out. It's got air conditioned seats, and those things are. My brother called me the other day because he was driving the truck back to do something with it in Alabama, and he's on his way back to North Carolina. He's like, I finally just had to turn this air conditioner off. I think my nuts are shriveled up. They're so cold. I'm like, I could have gone without that mental image. Uh, but yeah, air conditioned seats are. I, yeah, I need some of those.
The dealer called when my brother was looking for trucks or looking at trucks. Um, the dealer called and said, "Hey, we got a King Ranch in. It just came in." And my brother said, "And how much would that be?" And he said, it's $89,000, but we can knock something. I'm sure we can knock a couple thousand off of it."
Man, they have a lot of XLs. I mean, the first whole page, except for the first few, are all. That's the main trucks they have. Are, man, it's the second
And they
page.
probably got the same features on it as the XLTs do.
It's you don't get carpeted floors like my truck out there's got like the vinyl floor because it's
Right.
more like it's closer to a work truck. Which I make a mess anyway. I like the fact that you can just hose out the floors. It doesn't.
It's
But they
you
do
know, if
have.
you
They've got some XLTs that you can get for 51 here. There's three of them or two
my
of them.
my brother has a land surveying business, so they were wanting a truck,
Yeah, truck.
AC, radio. That's about it. Um, to order one, just a work truck, which I think that's what Chevy's calls theirs, a WT.
Yeah, WT.
It was as much as a XL, and so their guys are driving XLs, and they got these nice. What are those
It looks
floor
like
covers?
some of the prices have come down. Here's an F-150 trimmer. What comes on a trimmer? It's 59 is the price on it.
What is it? WeatherTech. If y'all ever need some good floor coverings, WeatherTech makes some good ones.
So the trimmer looks like it's got the same thing on it that the very similar to the Lariat package, except you can get it for 59, and it's a four-wheel drive. But it's got the problem. It's got them damn V6s in them. I don't care for those V6s, the turbo V6s.
Yeah,
Man, it's a truck. Just give me a V8 or a
yeah.
diesel.
Um, let's see where's somebody. They keep Stephen and S Bargain Barn says all things they are putting on the new vehicles, they just make more things to go bad. Yeah, all these electric things on them. Years ago, my wife was working with this lady, and her son bought. I'm gonna say it was a Toyota. It was an import. Uh, anyway, it had the all wheel steering on it. The back wheels would turn depending on which way you were turning the steering wheel. Nancy said she drove that thing one time and just about took out another car because she wasn't expecting the back end to go spinning around on it, which wasn't a big spin, but it was not something she was used to. But they ended up everybody discontinued those rear wheel steerings because they just kept breaking down.
eBay's crooked as hell, by the way. So I had a buyer open a request. The request was, I believe I put the wrong address for this package. So would you like? So I would like to change it to the correct one. One of the options is send the buyer a message. Um, my message: the item has already been shipped. There's no way to change the address after there's already been shipped. It was like 3 days later after I shipped it, and so it came back. So I want to refund the buyer, but your only option is straight refund. You don't get it won't let you take anything off of it. I should be able to get the shipping back because it's his damn fault that it went to the wrong place and came back. That ain't mine. Why should it cost me shipping for this numbnuts? And I'm not going to offer him. Well, here it is. You want me to send it out to the right address? You know, I want to refund it, keep the shipping, and if he wants it, he can buy it again.
You know, I was watching an eBayer, and he was talking about he this is what he does. He's at home all day long. So when something sells, he usually pulls it and packs it right then. And he said that he'll have it's ready to go out in the mail.
And so I tried to go to the order to do a refund. You can't refund this order because there is an issue at the time. So eBay is forcing me to pay to take a loss on this.
Have you contacted eBay about it?
Nah. eBay sucks.
Well, start doing um, whatnot.
I
How's your
mean,
is your auction still going good?
yeah, it's a little slow. I had a lot of bid. I looked yesterday. I had a lot of it that didn't have bids, but that's not unusual. Today is the big day for bids to come in. It ends tonight at what 7?
And this you said better saying Scott just needs to quit selling on eBay.
They need to make it where things are right is what they need to do. The seller should not be responsible for shipping when the damn buyer puts the wrong address. Why should that cost me money? Anybody in the chat disagree with me? Oh, there's another camera, 6 cameras.
Well, the guy was just talking about, he had a cancellation, and it hadn't been shipped, but he had already paid the money for the shipping on it. He had already bought the label, and he had a little bit of an issue trying to get, he was just going to refund them the money for the product itself.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to give him a refund, and if he wants it, he can buy it again.
So,
Because we're talking $5 shipping or whatever it is. This thing was 5 something shipping, and on a $25 item, you know, if I've got to pay $10 shipping, this because if I have to ship it back out and eat the shipping that I've already paid, fuck that.
good morning, Jim and Tara. Uh, well, just imagine if you had an issue with that big ass printer you just shipped. It what was it, $110 to ship it? What
Um,
if you
so so Julie, it was invalid shipping because uh, post office I've already got it back here. The post office sent it and it came back here.
it scrolled too fast? No, Scott. Anytime the seller puts in the wrong address, I eat shipping costs with a smile. Mistakes happen. I don't know whether you're being sarcastic or not, there, Mike.
So Mike, before you eat that shipping cost, do you put salt and pepper on it? Do you go to the bathroom to take a deuce and not wash your hands so it has a little extra flavor? What do you do there?
I mean, you're not Amazon. They can do this. They can, they're idiots, make a mistake and send the wrong item. They pay to have it sent back if they have it sent back, and then they ship out the right item.
No, it
I
was
mean,
it was 2 days later after they did this request. 2 or 3 days later, it showed up at the house, so there was no rerouting this one.
well, their address is supposed to be right on eBay, and
I
that's
mean,
what the shipping labels.
it asks you before you pay it out. I mean, this ain't that damn hard to look at it and go, that's not my address. I don't get that part. Well, tell me your kid did it. I need to cancel this. I don't know how it got it. My child must have ordered this. Your child ain't ordered shit.
Yeah, if they are, it's like the little boy. There was a video about a little boy that um, he bought like $900 worth of computer games off of eBay.
A DSC 120. Let's see, which one did we sell?
First of all, his little ass would have been burned up. But I just don't see,
Like I
I,
can
I,
read.
I don't see how that happens.
I was going to show you which one I sold, but I can't read the model number. Damn it. It's not that one. That one.
Is that pink, or is it just the lights reflecting off of it?
Sister lights reflecting.
Uh,
That one's pink.
okay, Roberta had a pink one.
Yeah, they're actually the same camera, but the problem with the pink one is see the problem with the pink one?
Uh, not really.
All right, now the cover, the lens cover doesn't always open.
Oh,
It works fine. It just doesn't.
I thought I'd come and harass you.
well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Talking about kids ordering shit off the internet. Oh, sorry, I swore. Our kid, when he was like 3, he ordered like a $40 gummy worm, and I was about ready to strangle him with it. He did it on Amazon, so then we had to put like the password on it.
Yeah,
Right.
this gummy worm looked like if you went into an adult store and there were some like multicolored.
Yeah, it was like 4 inches
Artificial
across and like
boyfriends.
10 inches long. I mean,
Oh no, it was no. That thing was like it was like 28 inches
oh my
long.
god!
It
Yeah.
looked like one of those double-ended fun toys or whatever. But anyway, I mean, you could barely get your fingers around it, gripping it for girth. I mean, this thing was big. It was a lot of gummy. We ate like maybe, I don't know, not even a foot of it. Yeah, I mean,
It was
because
just
we're
too
just so
much.
sick of gummy worm that the rest of it just got
And
stale.
I blame, and I'm pretty sure it's that little asshole Ryan that sells those Ryan
Yeah, he
Worlds
did
toys.
yeah.
He used to have a YouTube channel where he'd
Right.
like do like Kinder eggs and stuff.
Right.
And when Brandon was little, he'd watch that, and it was that little asshole that influenced my son to buy that
How
gummy
long?
worm.
How long's it been? You two can give up the ghost and quit blaming Brandon for this shit. Which one of y'all was going to molest him?
I'm not. Neither of us are sticking big gummy worms in anybody's orifices.
That's exactly what it looked like. You
Oh, that's
Dude,
probably
you
what
listen-
people were doing with it.
Have you listened to Jim's stories and tell me he's not going to stick that somewhere? Come on, man.
No,
Yeah, how to fast track yourself to a UTI? Use a gummy worm for a nefarious purpose.
Poor Brandon. He's probably been scarred for life that y'all blame him.
Yeah.
He's gonna be able to tell it that time that my parents blamed me for ordering a double-ended gummy with dinner,
and then I ate some of it.
and then we ate it as a family. And then we ate it as a family.
It was good when we first started eating it, but then after about a week, I mean, it just started to get like stale and too chewy, and it's like, yeah, the rest of it went to waste.
Oh,
So what
shit.
happened? Did you sell something and the person didn't have a correct address in eBay?
Yeah.
That happens a lot. I think people forget to update their addresses.
Well, I sold this hard drive to this guy, and they get they came up and said, you sent it to the wrong address. And I said, no, I sent it to the one on record. And he says, well, I haven't. I live in that location 3 houses ago.
Mm.
And I'm thinking to myself,
Whatever.
damn, maybe you ought to settle down someplace.
Well, you'll have seller protection because as long as you got the tracking uploaded and that was their
Yeah.
address on file with eBay. I like it when you got something marked like you ship UPS. They put the PO box in, so you got to contact them for a physical address, and then their physical address is a different zip code than the PO box, because then UPS doesn't want to generate the label through eBay.
And I'm going to say this, it never is the same. I've never had one of these ones where they ask for UPS shipping, they got a PO box, I send them that message, I need a physical street address I can ship to that is in the same zip code. I've never had them be in the same wherever their physical address now that they want to ship to is always different than that damn PO box. Every single time. It drives me nuts. So then I have to cancel the order, and about half the time they reorder the thing, and the other half of the time they just flake out on me. Because that's the only way you can do is have them cancel their order, repost it, they rebuy it, and with their correct information.
Yeah, I know
with
you
the
do
non-need.
lag.
PO box. Thanks for listening.
Felix, Todd's not in the show today. Oh, I see it now. We're going to wear that daggum phone call blocker button out. We're getting so many spam calls.
Get an iPhone.
Felix thinks you pulled a Mitch McConnell who's been flaking out at the podium and freezing up. You can see it's like when a computer has to restart, it just freezes.
Okay, well, we shouldn't make fun of you.
No.
I
Could
keep
happen
getting
to
an
any of us
alert
today.
saying there's low bandwidth, so I don't know what they're doing on the out here. Fishing and picking. Good morning.
Yeah, I don't wish any harm
Hey,
on.
he's gotta hang on till after November. So pray for him. He needs to stay hung on till after November.
Why
You
is
talking about
that?
November of next year?
Well, because our governor election is in
Uh,
November, and
uh,
you don't want to have our Democratic governor to appoint our U.S. Senate seat
Yeah.
because he's going to put a Democrat in there
And
until Mitch's term is
I
up,
don't know
which
if
is
that's
like
all.
26.
I don't know in all states, but specifically in Kentucky, it is the governor's job to appoint fill that Senate seat. And I can
yeah.
tell you, Andy Bashir is as Kamala Harris, the squad Democrat as they get. So he ain't gonna put in no conservative senator. I can tell you that.
I
I
know a lot of
think
states are like that because remember the Senate was when the way the government was set up is the Senate is supposed to represent the government part of the state, and up until they put an amendment out, senators originally were elected by the legislatures. It,
Yeah.
you know, they changed that. They should have never changed that. The House is the House of the people, and that's why House of Representatives. But the senators were always elected
Yeah.
by the House of Congress of the state.
are
And
y'all
Yeah, they're like our House of
No,
Lords.
just pray for Mitch. He's got to hang on until November, and we also have to win that governor race.
is that is November when y'all having your governor's race?
I think it's November, right? Is the election for?
I'm not even sure it's all the way to. I don't know if that runs with.
Oh, what is it? This November or next?
No, it's
fall?
this year.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right because Cameron won. Okay.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't run with the odd even years for president or whatever, or House of Representatives.
Yeah, because it's they're every
Shut
6
up.
years.
I'm gonna,
It's going to be nasty. I swear. You won't be able to answer your phone. I was talking to our mail carrier. She's regretted. I mean, she says I hope I win the lottery before before June of next year. And I said, why is that? She said, well, I would like to have the money. One thing, but she said so I can get out of this gig before they all the political promotion materials start.
Don't let her chew that up.
But it's also getting close to the end of the year, so everybody's gonna start calling now, wanting to know about my Social Security and
Yeah, well, I don't. If it is, I have a decision to make when you call and I don't recognize your number. So you better leave a message that entices me to answer it.
yeah, we don't
and
answer them at all anyway. But
I'll tell you the best thing about this phone. If you go to settings and you go to phone, uh, silence unknown callers on. If you're not in my address book, I never. You better leave a fucking message because it ain't never gonna ring.
Yeah.
we get calls from the school district here. Last year we were getting calls, and Roberta would pick it up and say hello, and it would be a recorded message saying, Letitia was not at school today. Blah 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 blah. So Roberta she would call the school district, and she said, you've got the wrong number in here. There is no one named Letitia living here. And so we still kept getting calls. I guess nobody updated their phone.
Oh, yeah.
So now, because we have no kids in school, and we don't know anybody that have kids that we would be on their emergency call list, we just ignore it now.
Yeah, you're way past that point. Tom's the emergency call list if he's not having heart issues. There you go.
Yeah, but that was your fault. Um, what's going? What is Felix yakking about?
Yeah, but a buyer doesn't have to contact you by your phone number. It's done through eBay.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're not. Well, I think after they purchase it, they might be able to get your phone number, but they're really. If you like message somebody with your personal contact when they're in the buying stage, yeah, you'll get a strike by eBay for doing that.
Did you live out in California, Felix? Or is that when they were Maria was living on the East Coast? He said that Senator Waxman and Maria Shriver used to live on the same street.
Maria has a housekeeper. Hey, did you guys hear that FedEx? Oh,
go ahead.
I got a resell thing. It's FedEx and UPS. You won't pay them once a week now. You're gonna starting next month. You're gonna pay them as you buy the label, so you won't get hit with that big UPS bill. And for us, we get it like Tuesday in the afternoon. We get hit with all our UPS from the previous week.
So has anybody seen the new? Supposedly UPS is coming out with a different ground system that'll cover first class packages and make them cheaper. Has anybody seen that yet?
Oh no,
I haven't seen that.
Somebody was talking about it yesterday. Somebody I watch, and I have not seen it yet, but I don't know what they call it yet.
I don't know.
Super UPS.
Super fast.
Well, they got that big old raise.
Yeah, 170 grand median, but that's with your health insurance and everything, all your benefits wrapped in. Like when I got my first job out of school, they said I was making like 50. Well, I wasn't making really 50. You know, they took out I was really making like 35 after they took out the benefits and stuff. Anyway, it's good to be a UPS driver. Brandon wants to be a lawyer. I'm trying to talk him into driving a brown truck.
Oh my god.
Well, he needs to be a lawyer so he can become a congressman from the great state of West Virginia.
He'd probably be a good politician.
Or be a lawyer for the Teamsters Union. I'm sure they're bringing down some nice cash. If you negotiated that deal with the UPS with the Teamsters, you got a pretty good payroll.
It's in when Maria Shriver's cousin's running for a seat this time.
Well, sure, that Kennedy, is it Edward Kennedy Jr. It's Bobby Kennedy Jr. is trying to run for the Democrat side, but they won't let him in. I mean, they won't do any I don't think he'll be able to get in. He's trying to primary Biden, but I don't think it's gonna work. So that would be her cousin.
Yeah, he needs to get out. We need Joe 4 more years.
Shut up.
Hey, I don't want anything to prevent him from being the Democrat nominee. He needs to be the nominee.
I'm afraid he is either going to
Biden definitely needs to be the Democrat.
I'm afraid he's going to pass away in his sleep, or they're going to say he's incompetent and remove him because of Article 26.
Yeah, but they'll do that. I think what they're going to try to do is hopefully they can get him to win this next presidential election, and then you're going to have him resign or something happen, and then you'll have Kamala will finish out that second term.
How are we defining win?
Well, I'll use quotation marks. Win, when you have to have a flood in Atlanta, Georgia, where you got to shut stuff down while you're counting votes, and then you start counting them again.
It would be like a Charlie Sheen win.
Can you see him run around Atlanta because they're fucking so dumb? Biden's losing. We're gonna lose. Somebody go clog up the shitter.
Yeah.
I just I just couldn't. Even if it happened now, I could not take giggles till next November.
Well, can you imagine? I mean, and I hope it isn't, but like last time, and they used the excuse of COVID, where you had these states, you'd be like, okay, we have to stop counting the votes now. I mean, you never saw that before ever.
They don't even try to hide it anymore. It's
I'm
just
gonna
all
tell
out in the
you what.
open. There's basically, it's like, well, there's nothing you can do about it. So
Maricopa
kiss my
County
ass.
is going to have
Yeah, I
problems.
wonder if we're gonna. Yeah, whoever heard of Maricopa County before election fraud?
Um, well, let me address this one first. Joanna, how far is the school away from your house? And Joseph's like 6, isn't he? But that sounds like a little boy. He's supposed to walk to school this morning. Instead, he was wandering through a prairie grass field. You know, they're not too bright at that age. They get distracted easy. And Lag says Trump will still be in jail. I'm telling you what, if they send him to jail and he can still run for president, if he runs for president, I will vote for his ass.
He ain't going to
Well,
jail.
if they look long enough, they might actually find a crime he's committed. I mean, they're still looking. They haven't. They tried the impeachment. They tried all this other. They actually haven't found a crime yet. But if they ever do, that might happen.
Because I want to see
Keep
all
looking,
of
boys. Keep
these
looking.
politicians start having strokes. Because you know he's going to be coming after them.
Well, Jim was listening to that lady that ran for governor in Arizona. What the heck?
Lake.
Oh,
Carrie Lake.
Carrie Lake. And she's like, somebody asked, well, why isn't like the other side digging into this more, like, instead going after Biden more? She goes, well, the problem is you have just as many Republicans on the other side that are doing the same stuff, taking this under the table money and deals
Right.
and stuff like that. That's a problem. I mean, I think you have to have term limits on the Senate. We can't have these old, 80-some-year-old feeble people, no offense to older people, that are running the government.
You need a
And
congressional.
you're sitting there too long, you become corrupt. Money corrupts everyone.
It doesn't matter how long they've been in. I mean, it makes it easier for them to steal when they've been in longer. But you need an internal affairs for the Congress and an outside body that's not Congress policing itself. You need an outside body that polices Congress, polices the DOJ, polices the FBI. You need an internal affairs, because you ask a cop, "What's your worst nightmare?" It's internal affairs.
Yeah.
And that's what we need in the government.
You're right, man.
Joanna,
Hillary didn't do
Joseph's
jail
pen,
time. Biden won't do jail time.
has it been that long since you made that video with him standing up on a chair or stool in front of the stove stirring apples? Jeez, time is flying by. Joanna's got a video, apparently from about 4 years ago, of her son Joseph, and she's processing apples for a canning, and he's stirring a pot of them, and he looked like he was a little fella then. But then again, I'm old, and my concept of little is different. I'm telling you, it's going to be so nasty next year.
No, I don't think so, Fishing. But Jim heard something somewhere that supposedly he's talking to Kristi Noem about being his running mate.
Well, if you watch the debate,
they asked if they think that Trump vice president.
I don't know if he'd take Ramaswamy, but he'd definitely take Kristi Noem.
I think he needs to take, based on her way she performed in the debate, I think Nikki Haley would be a good choice.
Oh
my God!
Oh, Thom!
Good grief! Oh,
well, the
Lord help us.
The
Bless
first
your heart.
mistake you made was watching the debate. You should have been watching Tucker interview Trump. That was your first mistake. But anyway.
Is there anything to be said for Nikki Haley? No. Okay, let's move on.
Silence.
No, I was reading.
I move we table it.
I was reading.
She's polling at 2%. You could pick so much better people.
Come on, he could pick Kamala and do better.
Byron Johnson, put him in there. And there's a lot of other great.
Oh, is
people.
Johnson a crazy car guy?
No,
Oh.
that's the
No.
House of
Okay.
Representative guy
Yeah.
from Florida.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
very good.
What's the other guy's name? The guy who's
That Perry
is it
Johnson?
I think
Perry?
it's Perry Johnson.
The crazy guy that walks crazy.
Yeah.
He's got like those numbers like
Good
flashing on his
God, yeah,
commercials.
it's like the whatever that guy who went to school. He's a janitor. and he's
Beautiful
real good.
Mind.
Beautiful Mind. Yeah.
No, that's the one with Russell Crowe.
It's one where Matt Damon,
Yeah,
where
I
they make
forgot the name
like
of it.
Matt
Yeah.
Damon smart.
Yeah, he's a janitor. They make him smart.
They had me when he was janitor, I got it, but when they made him smart, I'm like, okay.
I think Scott must have had to go feed the dog or something.
Yeah.
He probably heard that Nikki Haley crack.
Probably fell over right now after you said that one.
Yeah.
But I want the Donald to become president for 4 years because he will not have anything to hold him back. And I just think he needs to just get up there and raise hell. There's going to be a lot of politicians going to be mentally incompetent and can't stand trial. Jim's
Well, if they're
girlfriend.
allowed to try him, he's going to lose.
Jim,
there's no way he can win in that court, but it's going to get overturned. And the deal, it's how long before they get before an actual judge.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what they got going now, I mean, that's not a court. I mean, that's not a regular. This is a setup. It's a staged. It's a.
Well,
show.
now you got whistleblowers in the DOJ who were like calling that attorney and that prosecutor in Atlanta saying, no, you have to do it this day because they wanted it where it lines up with like right before. What was the thing on that, Jim?
Oh yeah, they called him up on Friday and said you have to indict him on Monday. And the DA, this was in Georgia,
Yeah.
and the DA's like, well, I don't even have whatever ready yet or something. And they're like, no, you don't understand. You have to do it Monday. So they did.
Yeah.
So because DOJ told them they had to. So if the DOJ is running a state prosecutor, or I mean a local prosecutor in Georgia, I mean it's a bunch of. I hate to say it. It's kind of like this. What's it? The night this.
Lights went out in Georgia.
Night the lights went out in Georgia. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that song. Except the federal government's running the show, so they got to get it off the wrestling ring stage. Where you got McMahon or whatever's the judge, and they're going to convict Undertaker or something. Got to get out of the all-star wrestling scene.
Hulk Hogan's gonna be in a chokehold, but he's gonna get his arm up on that.
Get this in front of an actual judge and an actual jury, and just get it done properly, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Good morning.
But they just got to get it done before the actual election.
Now this is a serious question, so don't just go batshit crazy on me. Is there anybody on the Democrat side that has any capabilities, potential to be a good candidate for them?
That Kennedy, honestly, but I mean, if it was Kennedy and Trump, I'm still voting for Trump. But if I had to pick between that Kennedy and Biden, I'd definitely take Kennedy.
And I think you got Newsom, and I think you have
I don't want Newsom in there.
Yeah, I think you have Newsom and Manchin are chomping at the bit, but it's just they know they're going to have the Democrat committee, or
DNC.
Against them because they're not this. They've decided the cash is flowing. We don't need somebody different balling up the works or whatever. We got a good setup with Joe. He does what we tell him to do. I mean, you basically, okay, Joe, here's your flashcards. This is what you do today. And in the behind the scenes, they're able to funnel the money everywhere where they want it to go. So why would you want to replace them? As long as his heart's beating, keep them in.
I think it's just my opinion, and I've got many. I think it's going to be all-out war on the Democrat side, trying to get through the primaries. Because
but they're not letting them primary. They won't let. They're not going to do any debates. They've already picked. The DNC has said we're not going to do any primary debates. You got that Kennedy who's pretty much just trying to run it on his own. I mean, you might as well say he's almost trying to be an independent because he ain't going to get the Democratic nomination.
Are they really going to run Biden again?
Yes, are going to run him again.
Okay, I'm gonna,
He's inept.
I'm gonna lose
He's
all of my
inept, but
subs-
if you
I'm gonna
think
lo-
about it, if you're in administration with an inept person at the head, I mean, you can have the people behind him is pretty much telling him what to do. I mean, did you ever? And I'm not saying presidents don't get heckled and stuff like that. I get that. But if you ever, I mean, as I'm 50 years old, I've never seen a president where you've had auditoriums that are booing them or
yeah.
chanting "Let's go Biden" or "Fuck Joe Biden" or all this stuff. I've never in my 50 years have ever seen anything to this kind of magnitude.
He's the commander in chief of our armed forces, which when that rolls off your lips, I mean, it feels weird that this guy is actually he's in charge of the greatest military on a planet.
Now,
If
what do I
people,
think of Bevin? I mean, I voted for Matt Bevin because I didn't really want Andy Bashir. To tell you the truth, I like Daniel Cameron a lot better than I like Bevin. Bevin was a bit of a carpetbagger.
We're
um,
carpetbaggers.
if people vote for Biden after all the crap that we've been going through, then they are dumb asses, and
Well,
No, they
but
know
he
what they're
still
doing.
has,
they
yeah, I mean,
They're
deserve
not
what they
dumb.
will
They
get.
know
you
exactly
still
what
have
they're doing.
40 or 45% of the country that, I'm Team Democrat. I'm going to stick with D.
Well, you do have those people, but you have other people with an agenda, and Biden's helping advance that agenda. So they're not. I mean, they're not. Some are. You got sheep, but I mean, a lot of the people who are voting for him and supporting him want what he's doing to happen. They want socialism.
And what's it, Newsom from California? We can
Yeah,
see
oh
how
my
well
God, please not him.
we can see how well that state's going.
Yeah,
People
no,
people are
no, I
bailing
don't
out
want.
of New.
I do not want Newsom. Honestly, in ways, Newsom scared me more than Biden.
And socialism only works if the rich people can't run away. As soon as you give the rich people an escape route, then socialism falls apart. Because I mean, if you give a bunch of money to a homeless person, that's great. You get that homeless person's got a lot of money, and I feel good for that homeless person. But the problem is, if you were taking that money, invested in some guy who owns a factory, a business, they could make that money multiply. They won't just spend it once and it's gone. They can hire more people. They can buy more equipment. I mean, they could do a lot more with that money. I'm sorry to say, than like a lottery winner. You hear all these lottery winners that go broke because they don't know what to do with the money. But if you would have given that lottery money to a company that could have expanded, I mean, for years, for decades, that would help people with extra jobs, better pensions, a whole bunch of great stuff that could happen from that company. But you give it to a lottery winner, he's buying a big swimming pool, a Lambo, a bunch of stupid stuff, and the next thing you know, they're broke.
Oh my God, this is off subject. But speaking of like taxes, I was up at the Illinois State Fair here about a month ago, and we bought some stuff at Walmart, and it was like over 9% sales tax. I mean, I was like, what? It was like 9.2
In
or
Louisville?
no, up in Illinois in
Oh
Springfield.
yeah.
It was crazy.
Uh, isn't that Joanna? Don't you live in Illinois? Yeah. There's a lot more YouTubers coming, African American YouTubers coming out pro or anti dams, not necessarily pro Republicans, but definitely anti
Whoa, 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 whoa,
dams.
whoa! Hey, Tom, watch the footage of outside the courthouse in Georgia. They have a stand after stand after tent with blacks for Trump. I'm not kidding. I mean, did you see the protesters?
Yeah.
I would say half of them in Atlanta were black.
Yeah.
So no, he's not. They're not. They aren't necessarily
Oh, wow.
absolutely going for Trump.
Oh my God, Glenn Swamp Picker said that their sales tax is 9.95. It's almost 10%. Yeah, I think it was 9.5% when I was up in Illinois, which I was like, what?
Now, does he have a sale? Does he have a state income tax though?
Yeah.
I don't know. Illinois does, don't they?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Ours is probably getting up to 9.5%
I
here
think ours is like 6, isn't it?
because we have a
Here?
base
Or
7%.
5 point.
No,
It
ours
might
is
be
6. Or
ours is
5.5
6.
in Wisconsin, but it's 6 here.
Yeah.
We have a base 7%. But in Mecklenburg County, they can get a 0.5% sales tax for building the greenways, and then they can get another 0.5% for doing something else for the schools or whatnot. So I bet ours is probably close to 9% now, or nine and a half
Little
percent.
state of Kentucky.
You know, whenever they do one of those big school funding things too, they never buy books. They're always buying like escalators or special teacher one-way movers or something. Or
Well, our our state house has pushed through school vouchers, and our governor, who is Scott's favorite governor of all of them, he made an announcement that North Carolina was at a state of emergency because of the schools are going to collapse because of these vouchers.
Well,
And
I don't
people,
smoke marijuana, Joanna, so I don't have to worry about that. She
they
says 20% on marijuana tax.
well, that's good. If you're going to smoke it, pay for it. Joanna lives in Illinois, and
you'd
she
have to
said
be
that they
high
have
to
a
pay a
20
tax like that.
cents.
You have to be high to pay 20%.
They have a 20% sales tax on marijuana.
That's a good
You
one.
go to the dispensary, say 20% tax. Are you high?
20%. Wow. If you're going to smoke them, you got to pay.
They used to up in Wisconsin. I mean, they tax cigarettes real high. Like if I wanted to buy a pack of Marlboro, like 5 years ago when I moved here, if I want to buy a pack of Marlboro Reds in Wisconsin, they were like $7.50 a pack. I think getting close to $8 a pack. Down here, when we came down here, they were still like $5.50 a pack.
When I was in college, you could buy mushrooms, acid, pot, no sales tax.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's the free market.
And you didn't even have to leave the dormitory. You bought all the stuff right in the dorms. It was
Hey,
great.
baby, you
Some
got
of
a
the guys
nickel
are growing
bag?
this stuff under their bed, the shrooms.
How about a nickel bag? A nickel bag costs you $500 now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I remember. Yeah, there was a time when it was $5, but today I don't know what they put in the bag. Just enough to
Uh,
cover the bottom of it, I guess.
after our governor made the statement about that it was going to hurt people of color, um, the African American community came out and said, "Do you not think that we will make the effort to take advantage of this to send our kids to
Well,
schools
how would it hurt? What was going to hurt the African American community?
I will tell you
the
what's going to
The
hurt the
school
school
African
vouchers?"
American.
vouchers?
The
Yeah,
racist assumption that and bigoted assumption that all black people can't pay for stuff. I mean, if I was a black person, yeah, I would be very pissed. Like when Biden said that thing that white kids are just as or no black kid or
Black kids are just as
articulate
something
as
poor.
white kids.
No, I think he said
Or
poor kids.
Poor kids are just as articulate and stuff as white kids. So insinuating that it's just non-white people who are poor. I mean, to some like Mexican American, say something like that to, and the guy owns like 6 car washes or something, he'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna tell you, it does. If you've got kids in private school, it does take an effort because you got to get them to and from school. But one lady said that was interviewed said, "Do you not think that we'll make the effort to?"
I think Obama's kids went to private school,
Well, they have to.
and I don't think he had a problem with driving them there or have the Secret Service
I
drive them
think
there.
it should be your choice where you want to send your kids to school.
Well, it's. I think he's kind of because that whole subject has kind of dropped down. I mean, faded away because I think he made too
Yeah.
many people angry by what he said. Because I'm gonna tell you what, the people that used to live next door to us, Carlos and Rosanna would beat those boys' ass if they made bad grades. If they were struggling, she saw to it that they got the help that they needed. But for
Yeah.
them to just screw around and make bad grades, she would beat their ass.
I mean, my son goes to public school here, and honestly, this public school system here, actually, it's a pretty good school system. I like it.
They don't take any crap.
I mean, you could send him to Christian Academy, but I think it costs like $7,500 a year to send him there, and
Well,
you have to be really involved with the church.
if you get $5,000 from a school voucher,
Yeah,
then
true.
that might put it more
Well, when
in
we moved here, I did look into it, but the thing was they want both parents involved with the church, and I couldn't get Jim on board with that.
lag. Those boys were some good boys. They were like anybody else, any other teenagers. You know, they'd screw up every once in a while. But overall, those boys were good boys, and I think that's because they were afraid to have to deal with Rosanna, because she
I
would.
tell you the truth, my kid's a pretty good kid. Not to brag on my kid, but I mean, we don't beat him at all.
But I will say the school system here, though, they start from the low grades on. I mean, they have a very strict. It reminds me of when I was a kid when I went to a Catholic school in the primary grades, and it reminds me of the Catholic school because kids from public school will be like, "Oh wow, your punishments are so severe in that school. You know, how bad is it when you screw up?" And I'd be looking at the Catholic school kids. We'd be looking at each other. We're like, "We don't screw up." Because they're blowing up garbage cans with M80s in the library, and blowing up toilets, doing all sorts of crazy stuff over the public school. Catholic school, you just didn't do that stuff. I mean, you knew from first grade on, you towed the line. These are the rules, and you're going to follow them, and everybody just did. Because if you stepped out of the line even a little bit, you got right away they were on you. It wasn't like these schools, you just let the kid go wild for long enough till all of a sudden he's completely out of control. And that's what this school here in Campbellsville's like. They start when those kids are little. I mean, you are going to follow the rules.
Well, that's what
And
it needs to be.
they're right with the parents, even if it's a small infraction. I mean, they're calling the parents on the phone. Hey, your kid did this. What are you going to do about it? They get the parents involved too.
People don't, whether it's dress codes, stuff like that, people just don't have any respect for it. They don't have any respect for rules.
We have a dress code.
This was in the business world, but this guy sued this company because they wouldn't hire him because he had all these tattoos on his neck and face, and he had the big gauges in his ears. And they said, "No, you don't. I'm sorry. You have the academics and the experience for the job, but you don't meet."
Well, I always kind of said, and I mean, this is just my personal opinion, and I understand. If you go, to me, it was always don't put tattoos like on your face or head, because one day I got to sit in a bank across from a lending officer, and he's going to judge me on my appearance. And you can say that's wrong, but people do it all the time. And I don't want to not be able to get a loan because I have a tatted up face.
I agree with that, but I'm going to flip this. Can you imagine going to the bank, getting a serious business loan? I mean, you're like, I'm finally going to grow my business. I have the credit rating to do it. I have the manpower now that I can draw from or whatever to expand my business. I'm going to go in and get a business loan to go expand my business. And you sat down across from a guy with a bull ring in his nose, tattoos, words across his forehead, big gauges in his ears, and this is a guy who's going to give you this is a loan officer you're going to work with to get this big loan to expand your business. I would get up and walk out because I hate.
We sound like old people now.
Well, but that person represents that bank. I'm not looking at the guy across the table from me. I'm looking at this person represents the bank, and you have freedom of speech. And you can paint I don't know what on a big pink heart on your forehead or whatever. That's all good. I mean, but you got to understand. There's consequences, and it's not like, well, I just want a pink heart on my forehead because that will make me feel good. You're putting a pink forehead on your forehead for it to send a message. It'd be like if I went and had Trump tattooed on my forehead. I'm not doing it because I just have to have Trump's name on my forehead. I'm doing it to get a rise out of people. I'm doing it to send a message, and you better, if you're going to do that, you have the right to do it, but you've got to be ready to take the consequences.
And your body is a temple.
Yeah, if you're going to walk around, if you're going to have an NRA, National Rifle Association shirt, and you're going to be a real estate agent showing property, hey, I think the NRA is great. But I would put a person in my car, if they don't like the NRA, they ain't going to like my shirt, they ain't going to like me, and they ain't going to real estate for me. It's just the way it goes.
Right. it's
And I certainly
and I
won't get
was
the
reading an
NRA
article where
tattooed. I
this
won't get like the
company.
NRA eagle tattooed on my forehead or something.
I was reading an article where this company is under a new CEO, and he's telling the folks in the office that the dress code is business, not business casual. It's business. Suits and ties for the gentlemen, women either dresses or slacks, no jeans, no tennis shoes, old school 1960s business attire. And a bunch of people have quit and because they just don't like it. And he said the mentality is getting everybody back into the business mode, getting everybody back to serious, being serious about something. And if they don't like it, they can hit the bricks. And he
When I was
pretty
in college, and that's when I first got married. My last semester, I was married, but I had one more semester of college to go through. So I had to have money. I'm living off campus with a wife and going to kid away. I need money, so I had to take this job backstocking groceries at a grocery store. First thing I said, this is your attire. It's going to be black slacks, a black necktie, and a white shirt, and we'll provide the smock. But if you showed up not wearing black slacks, a white shirt, and a black tie, they sent your ass home. You weren't going to work. And that's a grocery store, and
right.
I'm stacking baby food jars. I mean, that's about the lowest job you can have, and you still had to wear a tie and a white shirt.
Before I shut this down, because this thing is running long, does anybody have any reselling questions or whatnot? Even
Let's talk about eBay. It scared Scott away.
yeah, Mr. Political,
Yeah.
rebellious right.
Hmm.
By the way, I was going to say this: if anybody has a YouTube channel and they want to put their link in the chat, feel free to do so. Because I'd like to start making a list of people that's in the chat and what their channels are. If you have one. If you don't have one, that's fine. I'm just saying.
Pick one.
Just saying.
If you don't have one, you should make one.
Yeah. But I suppose I will be back tomorrow since Todd's not here. I'll see if I can't find something resellery to talk about. But anyhow, everybody have a great day. Jim and Tara, thank you for coming in. You're always a
Welcome.
lot of fun.
You're so welcome.
Y'all were it's always a pleasure.
We always like to
We
bless
do it
people
for
with our
your.
presence.
We do it for your pleasure.
Thank you. I
I
really
hope
appreciate
I
it.
hope you have people come on or go on and watch your show tomorrow after we were here.
I don't think anybody goes back and watches these shows.
You never know.
I mean, on anybody's.
Well, sometimes I'll listen to the replay on these kind of live shows while I'm listening if I missed it when I was live.
Yeah, Joanna, let's do that. I was thinking about that while Todd's away, and I need some content. We're going to talk about print on demand tomorrow. Are you going to come in here and talk with me, Joanna? But
We can talk about Todd. He won't be around.
yeah, we can talk about the old man, the older old man. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Try to make $1 or $2, and
All right.
I gotta go pick up some stuff from an online auction.
Yeah, we gotta go pick up some stuff that we whizzed away money on.
you got to go get some what?
Some stuff I bought off an online auction.
Oh, did you buy something
Some
good?
of it's resell. A lot of it was stuff.
No,
not
I
to
don't think
resell.
so.
Those director chairs.
Oh yeah, I'll keep those.
And then I bought some stuff for me too. That one.
Yeah, well, the director's chairs were like $3 for a pair of them.
It's still money.
Anyway.
All righty. Y'all have a great
All right,
day.
have a good day.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right.